Hey, what's up, everyone? Tried to do this live. I'm doing it from my home. Had a malfunction, so I'm doing the recording. This is not time as sensitive as normally the videos go out. We talk about stocks in the next few days. Just want to touch base on, going forward on the S&P and some targets I have below us. And I really really in a very cautious state here. I'm not believing any upside at this point, and I'm actually not really happy with the downside. And in the previous video, I was just kind of going through my history in the markets. And when I started in '96, I was able to catch the tech bubble, not knowing what was going on there, catching the rise up. But then you have to deal with the pop, and then we have to deal with 9/11. Then we deal with 2008 banking, and the list goes on and on. So we've seen these markets pull back a lot. And for what's going on today, around the world, and what's just how everything is playing out, the market seems to be hanging in there. It's hanging in there where, we don't have that just really strong fear of selling. It's like no one believes the war is going to be here or anything like that. It's like we're on the brink of nuclear war. It just doesn't seem like it has capitulated enough. And you could look at this as a positive too. That's the big thing. I'm usually an optimist and looking at relative strength versus relative weakness. When I'm looking for longs, I'm looking for that relative strength against other things. What am I comparing the S&P 500 to? I usually compare everything to the S&P 500, which, in the big scheme of things, since we got off the lows here at 2020, we're still up here in the top portion of this move. We haven't retraced 50% even close, and those are scary. That's a scary thought, because I could see us moving down quite a bit more. Especially on the S&P. You can see my targets down here about 40-60 to the 40-40 area. I'm giving myself a 20-point area box there, because then we're going to hit we're going to have an extension trend line down here, which falls into this wedge pattern. But there's a real good old trend line that came. It was the top trend line here. We're coming underneath it again. So there's a couple things that I'm liking. Then we had this May low down here also that we came and we tested it once, twice. So I think we got a good shot to get down there. And maybe at that point you capitulate. And capitulations out of these patterns are usually pretty easy to trade, because they look like they're supposed to hold up, but they don't, and they really break down. But then they come back pretty sure. That was the capitulation. Lots of times I see in these type of charts. But again, it's all about news, and I mentioned this on the last video too. That before I got cut off, is all bets are off. Tomorrow, Putin could be backing down and saying, I want to pull back. Who knows what the news is going to be, and that's going to cause a huge move in the markets. Nasdaq will pull back to 20% pullback now off the highs. 20% actually probably this year, and that is. Let's go to NDX here. And that still could go back down. I think I did put in this is the Fibonacci. Let me see what this is over here. I was messing around with some of the Fibonacci's earlier today, and I think I was measuring this out. And that 50% move from the lows to the highs, that 50% move on the Nasdaq brings us back down to that 11,830 level. That's huge. That's quite a ways down there. So I'm not putting anything past this market. It doesn't feel that ripe, to head back up yet. It just doesn't seem that there's enough fear in the market. A lot of people in this market, they still have all these gains. There's not enough pain here. So the targets, that's my only target right now. 40-60 area. From that point on, we kind of see what happens with the news. And keep an eye on that VIX too, because that's usually a good indication of. Today we watched the VIX being very strong all day long, even though the market wasn't sometimes was performing okay. The VIX was really pointing the way higher today. And that just showed the market selling off hard at the end of the day. But this was a pretty powerful move on the VIX. And that could be we'll see what happens tomorrow if this thing follows through. And that's a follow through to that side. There's usually a follow through to the opposite side. So that would, you would look for this to break down. And we talked about this support a lot today. These 3 candles here. We're right back down. A lot of different stocks out there have support levels right here. And a lot of stocks that you would never expect to be back here. Just examples like Snowflake, IPO, they're all coming back to underneath their IPOs. I mean, these things are getting crushed. You loved them back here. Loved them at 280 to 300, 360. Now it's 169. And, that's a tough one. I kind of like that one down here. The other, we got into the mullen today. Oh, yes, Friday. And then I sold the rest of it today. So that ended up being a really nice trade. That was it for today. I was going to actually show you the ES or the MES, the micro contract for the day, because it was one good divergence. I believe it was around 2-ish. I don't have the chart because it's on my other computer, and every time I switch it over, I crash. I don't want to crash again. So let me see if I could maybe I could bring up the SPX. We'll just bring up the cash on the 5-minute. We'll start with the 5-minute here. All right. Well, we kind of came in feeling the downside pressure here, so didn't get much of a bounce. Rolled over quickly, took out the lows, and now we're down here. And again, this is an old trend line. It started off with a nice 1-2-3 pattern. The volatility really hit the market, popped it up. We came down, chopped around it a little bit more, popped, and then kind of flushed. And then we bounced back up and kind of in that choppy line area again. Same thing here, then broke above it. Then it really proved its integrity there. Came down, chopped around, and held it again, popped, and now look, we're chopping around it again, pop, and we're chopping around it again. The S&P, I mean, this could easily rally. Technically speaking, if with any type of good news, this is a good time to have it off of support lines like this. But it's all about the news right now. I mean, that's just, we'll see which way the wind blows tomorrow. 60-minute time frame. We're also going to start off tomorrow with a 60-minute setup. 60-minute at least oversold. And that takes, that's the other big time frame. So you get that on your side the whole day. It could be a good day. I have a feeling we're going to know something overnight. You wonder if there's going to be a situation like this. And we blow out of the downward channel here. Oh, we're watching for it. That's what I'm doing. But I am expecting some downside, and we're going to try to just... was there a divergence? I didn't take that divergence today. I wanted to take more divergences. I think I'll do that tomorrow. Being a Tuesday, I think things will be a little bit less directional. Today was kind of a downside push most of the day. And you didn't really want to, and I was bearish all day, so I didn't really want to take too many longs, so I kind of backed off. I'm just looking back now, just on the 5-minute chart here, and I'm not seeing too many things that would have jumped out at me at all, other than this trend line and chopping around it a lot. There's no divergences on the 5-minute. The 1-minute, I just like my other charts better. You could have had, there was an argument here for a divergence right here, right before 2 o'clock, and it moved up a little, then it kind of moved back down. Not much to grab here. And it wasn't a high divergence. You want those high divergences. You want those big reversal candles. Today was sloppy for it. I'm fine with that. I didn't get sucked into any bad trades or anything. Let's take a look at IAC. Also on on the board, the director is Chelsea Clinton. I found that out when I was doing research because she got into Clover, and I looked at her purchase. She ended up buying Clover with her own money, where she has options in all these other companies that she's on the boards of, and she gets the stock options. But she is, on the board of IAC apparently. Not that means anything to me. I'm just looking at this beautiful kind of dual candle. There was a candle down here I started to like. It got a little bounce. Now it's come back down. It hasn't confirmed that divergence, but it does smell like one. And the valuation on this is getting really cheap. PE on this is really getting down there. The scary thing is when you look back at these things, a lot of these things are getting those 50% pullbacks, and some of them haven't gotten down there yet. And even though they're looking good, maybe that's not out of the case. That you think that can't move down that much further. Well, I've seen it happen. I'm just going through a bunch of these. Just going through my list, and I go to my list, just kind of pull back. I could spot a divergence. This one's actually holding up really good. This is a strong stock. Green brick. TEVA's back down to the trend line. What a boring stock, though. It's really, catch it right, you could get some movement in it. I'm sure you have plenty of time now. Just watch for the volume. Because the volume right now is it's dismal, and it's just drifting. It'll come to us. But look at these. Oh, Cureleaf. Remember Cureleaf? Pubmatic, got beat up on that. I had the option on that into earnings. Net is getting taken down here at 85. That was a good level. We looked at it back here. I remember 85. We came back down to 85 in February. Bounced. I think they had pretty good earnings. And now just getting sucked down with everything else. But we're back down to that kind of a good, I would consider this a pretty good support level. But I do think the market's going down, and with that, we could get capitulation moves. And this is what we talked about today on the show. Get your shopping list ready. If you had another 10% down in a stock that you like, what stock would it be? Tell me what stock would you could write it in the comments if this is on YouTube. What stock is the top on your list if the market capitulates and stocks in general drop another 10%? Which stock are you getting into? It could be anything. It could be 10%, another 10% pullback in Apple versus maybe you're getting into Tilray really cheap. I wanted to know. Because that's an important thing to start planning out right now. Because a capitulation move could be right around the corner, and if you're not prepared, it could blow by you. So you got to kind of get these things in your mind. Prepare yourself. You will have something news to move this market violently one direction or another. Be prepared for a drop. And you can see it's just like a big, maybe a breakdown and then a spike down. Does that get back down to... No, it wouldn't get... I can't even believe it's down this much. I would start looking at this under 80. Yeah. I don't know if I can put a trend line alert on this. Just in case it gets down there and I don't recognize that. That would be a fantastic level to get through. I was looking at that. Came back up here, tested it there. Let's just keep an eye on this one. I got a little trend line alert down here, so just in case we get there. Cut Unity. No. ITI. Everything. Just remember that. DraftKings, $15. Some people still love this DraftKings. I told you up here at 45 it was going back down to the IPO price. Going right back down to the IPO price. Probably $10. They all return. All these they're all returning. Coming back down. God, that crushed. And it's not done yet. But these are the stocks you got to look at, which ones are overdone. Which ones are going to spring back like it's you're attached to a slingshot. Start working on that. Let me go through a couple more. I'll let this video get out there. Square, it's still hanging. I think we're all these charts right now telling me capitulation. Breakdown, volume picks up. People say screw it, I'm out of here. We break down, we get down under 80 on Square. Big numbers like that, real fast. Oh, charge point. It's actually not a bad pullback. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I want to do because we're going to be concentrated on intraday trades, and maybe we get some runners. But this looking pretty sad here. Oh, I just killed my charts there by mistake. All right, I'll bring that back up, and I will send this out. I just want to go over my overall targets. Hope you enjoyed that. You can see me each day live on DayTraderRadio.com. 8 o'clock in the morning. We're there to 4 in the evening, and then late night shows and all other kind of great trading events. So come on by. Check it out. And again, still looking for that 40-60 to 40-40 level. Well, we can even call it 40-50, give or take 10 points. 40-50, give or take 10 points. First target. Things get kind of interesting if they start breaking down here. We get down to a 50% retracement. All right. I'll see everyone in the markets. Good night.